CNBC. Now.
Next, the 3 silver bullets you'll need to reinvent yourself and uncover the $1 million new you. Plus, a comic who performed with Jerry Seinfeld and Ellen DeGeneres as his opening acts sees fame pass him by. How did the labels he received in high school keep him from success?
Tonight on The Big Idea, the 7 kick-ass strategies for success for millionaires who were labeled least likely to succeed. Now more than ever, it's time to take control of your life, because in today's world, you can't count on anyone for success but you. I'm Donnie Deutsch, and it's my job to give you the tools you need to get the money you want and the freedom you deserve. Have you ever wondered how people voted least likely to succeed wind up making it huge? Well, tonight, the millionaires who went from least likely to most likely share their personal playbook for turning it all around.
Aaron Brockovich was called least likely to succeed in high school, but became the subject of a Hollywood movie.
When you spend the past 6 years raising babies, it's real hard to convince someone to give you a job that pays worth a damn.
She says you have to fight for what you believe, and became a millionaire as a crusader for the little guy. Dave Anderson, founder of Dave's Barbecue, was the daydreamer in high school at the bottom of his class, but went on to attend Harvard and build a $400 million a year business. He says passion was the key to his success. Paul Stanley is a member of the band Kiss, but as a kid he was chubby, shy, and no one noticed him. But even though classmates thought he'd never make it, he stuck to his dream and made millions. Steve Rizzo wondered if he'd ever be successful after being labeled least likely to succeed in high school. But Steve was determined to discover his hidden talent, and he became a comedian and motivational speaker.
Steve, let's bring you into the equation here. Early label for you was what?
Least likely to succeed.
Why?
Well, actually, I really wasn't a good student. And even in 8th grade, before that, I was in the guidance counselor's office with my mom and dad. And right there, he told me that I didn't have what it takes to go to college. And we believed him. And unlike everybody else on the panel here, I kept those negative beliefs for most of my life. And they really solidified the belief that I had about myself. I sabotaged so many great things in my comedy career. I mean, I was considered one of the best in my comedy career. And everyone kept telling me, you're next, you're going to make it. But if you don't believe it, it doesn't mean anything.
So even when you're a guy who you went on, you actually had, like, you and Seinfeld would be on the same shows together. Obviously, Jerry's made it rather big, and yet people would be telling you to make it, but something inside you was telling you weren't going to make it?
And yeah, and it's a real inner thing. And it wasn't until years later when I look back and I became aware of what I was doing. It's the awareness that really sets you free.
So what did you turn around?
Well, I turned around the fact that I am good enough. And that's when I started making that transition from comedy to speaking, because there are a lot of people out there, and this is the key for everyone to know this. It doesn't matter how talented you are. If you really have this dominant belief that you are not good enough, that you are not smart enough, you're not going anywhere.
Jason, you say there are 5 silver bullets for reinventing yourself.
I do. You know, I'm listening to the stories, and what I find is any label can be bad if it limits what you're trying to do. So the first thing that I like to tell people is you have to own the feedback. Not the specific feedback from the naysayers, but if you're hearing the same kind of thing over and over again, there's a trend there, and you may want to think about it. If you're hearing it over and over, it's probably you, not them. The second thing you want to do is reframe it. You have to make it actionable. So you want to take that feedback and you want to couple that belief with an action that's not happening because of it. And then the third thing is you want to commit to the action, which is going to force you to let go of the belief. So if you're saying, I'm least likely to succeed, but I want to make it big, okay, then you're going to have to say being voted least likely to succeed doesn't matter, which sets you up for 2 more things. The fourth being, you're going to have to commit to that action side. You're going to have to externalize your enemy at that point. It's very difficult to beat the enemy within. It can be easier if you set yourself up with some external goals. And the fifth thing is you're going to want to break those goals down. You're going to want to give yourself some interim steps. If you could achieve the big dream of making it big tomorrow, you would have already done it. So the fact that you haven't done it yet means there's some resources between you and your goal that you're going to need to get. Give yourself some interim steps, and as you are ramping up towards your goal, make sure you're getting the resources you need.
So Scott in Florida.
Yes, good afternoon. I've always been self-employed, and from a very early age, all I did was self-taught. I was making a very good living at what I was doing. But I'm at a point in my life now where I've been forced to start over. How do you start over when you're 38 years old?
Great question. Aaron, how do you start over? You've had to start over all throughout your career. He's 38. To me, I see that as young.
It is young, and I find myself even today starting over. And
take it as a golden opportunity, because at the very moment I have that challenge, and just when you think you can't start over again is exactly when you can start
Steve,
over
again. Steve,
again.
you were way into a comedy career. It wasn't taking where you got to. How did you flip the switch?
Absolutely. I was in my mid-40s when I switched from comedy to speaking. And yeah, there was a lot of fear and still involved in that. But, you know, I said, this is what I need to do. This is what I want to do. And you just do it.
You just do it. All right. One big idea. Straight ahead.